It's kind of ironic that I decided to bring this chair in here and try filming it this way because the bed's just a little too low for doing this kind of thing. Um, and so, yeah, I decided to try it, like I say, this way. And I'm using a chair that used to belong to my grandparents. And it's weird as we get older, we sometimes can't remember, how we maybe celebrated things like birthdays or whatever, but birthdays and Christmases I often celebrated with the grandparents. So there's an example of that. Um, just a moment, I had a water in here. Oh, it's over here. Okay. I thought I had just gotten up and gotten it a moment ago. So, um, yeah. Basically, this is a video, as it says, about um, celebration, um, milestones in your life, um, what maybe sometimes makes things a bit hard to celebrate sometimes, or a little bit different than, back in the day. Chapstick for curious, chapstick for not. And just, yeah, thoughts on that. And I'm very tempted to, because I'm a bit chilly, to go and turn the heat up a little bit, but then I think I might get hot pretty quickly. And I don't know, I just kind of, I'm rolling now. I guess I could, though. I totally could. I'm surprised he hasn't asked for that. Maybe I'll put it up a couple of degrees only. Um, I mean, I know I just put this on, but because otherwise he's going to ask for it too. So, yeah. Um, so, uh, what prompted this video? Just gonna make sure I put all chat on too. I get back in the other room. Give a few more moments for people to tune in. Sounds like a party going on in there, doesn't it? I'm almost tempted to put socks on. Goodness gracious, I don't know. I'm silly. I did just happen to sit next to our, I guess you'd call it chest of drawers, where the socks happen to be. Anywho, yeah. So basically, what prompted this video is the fact that I have a fairly, I guess you could say, milestone birthday coming up. And it's interesting because I'm actually just caught a glimpse beyond this. I'm seeing the mirror, but I find just seeing myself here. If I show that, it's like, go have some fun. Could that be an alright background if I was just to do it over here, maybe? Is that better? Maybe? I don't know. Kind of, sort of, kind of. I don't like that either. Well, and then that's the closet behind us with a bunch of clothes, which it'd be a great gift if I could work in the wardrobe department. Maybe just this. Yeah, it's not bad, eh? So, I'm just noticing our dog laying over here too, and just looking. He's been up here for a little while. 15. Give you a bit of attention and love. Since nobody's here giving it to me yet. But yeah, so basically, okay, it's only 5 minutes in, so it didn't take me that long to get settled into things. Basically, that light is bright. Basically, for the night, the light is bright. Basically, ow. Okay, this piece of furniture. I don't often do podcast here, but well, I guess it's St. Kathleen. This piece of furniture has handles that kind of stick out a little bit, and oh, hi, Wellness. How are ya? Good to see you. Didn't take very long for you to tune in either, so I appreciate it. I was waiting for somebody to tune in. How you doing today? How's your weekend going? Because yeah, I guess tomorrow's Monday for most people. Um, what prompted this video is yeah, I don't usually do this. Okay, I'm okay. I was missing you at first. I was like, that's what you mean, but oh, it's on the other line. I'm okay. Of course, we went through the time, set the time back, um, an hour, and so it really feels like it should be an hour later than it is, and so I'm feeling those effects a little bit. It's and I've got something really on my mind, and that's what I want to talk about. And glad to have someone here to talk about it with. Remember to hit the like button so that will show for other people that see this, and for myself for that matter. But yeah, basically, what prompted this video is I'm just gonna move this back a smidgen. Is I have an upcoming birthday, and like I say, it's a new age category. Thank you, a new age category. Um, and I've been feeling it looming for like 3 weeks now, which I must say is a bit unfamiliar of a feeling. I mean, I've been feeling old, whether you call it old soul or just physically old, and sometimes mentally old, for quite a while. And I was curious to hear from others what you feel are some of the most memorable things that you've about your birthdays that you've had in the past. Um, I don't know if that's an easy question or not, because when I asked myself, I wasn't sure either. I wasn't sure. I know that they look different when I was younger. And some people think that as you get older, you don't need to celebrate. But I tell you, getting through, another age year and even sometimes a week and such is an accomplishment. So I think it's important. What I really think is important is to remember to give yourself uh, care and love and special things. Um, you know, often. Don't maybe go too crazy spending money if you don't have it. But um, I do want to say something kind of deep, and it kind of works for me. It kind of doesn't. You see, I'm a very social person. And as I've mentioned in past videos, which you may or may not have seen, at this chapter in my life, and I kind of explained it in those videos, maybe this will make sense to you, maybe you relate. At this chapter in my life, almost getting to 40, I don't feel as connected aside from online as I used to be. Grand Canyon, okay, I've never been there. But I was talking about my grandparents. Yeah, I don't feel like, I'm so glad for the community on here and social media, because yeah, I don't even feel like a lot of the things I used to go to are as accessible. Busing has changed quite a bit. I'm not really comfortable doing it anymore. Yes, I could get a ride from someone who I would sometimes get a ride from, but I did often bus. But and I did that a few times recently, but it's a little bit awkward. You know, uh, Best pizza topping combo. Yeah, that might be what we do. It's suggesting a Q&A topic. Um, um, and I know I had a few of them at Pizza Hut or Montana's. Bowling, probably. Bowling keeps coming up. But as I mentioned, I think in the video you saw last perhaps, uh, last time I went bowling, there was a bit of a unexpected awkwardness. Although it was otherwise enjoyable, I guess. And it wasn't. We got there just a little bit before it got busy, and even when it got busy, it wasn't. I was surprised how I was with the noise level. But I do want to say, I guess a couple of things that do come to mind. I used to go to karaoke a lot, and I think you may have been. I think it was the first video you saw of me. I was being all deep and messy, and I was talking about a friend that had passed away, and she was the host, and I knew her. Almost from when I started going there, we just started to form connection, and I used to sit with her and some of her friends, and but when I moved, and then the pandemic, it was one of some of those examples of you see these people once or twice a week, but then life goes on, and you don't necessarily know how to necessarily stay connected to them, or enough information, and and you know, so you don't. um, and like after our friend passed away, I texted um, not long. I mean, before the funeral, one because I thought I might need a ride. The ironic part is my mother was the ride. Um, but I was, I thought, oh, we have some people in common. I was trying to arrange that. Some people just simply didn't see the message. Um, and some people were not people I was familiar with, but they were people I came across in the process. Um, like I said then, I'm not going to get hugely into this topic, but it's a type of celebration too, a life celebration. As I said then, I was surprised how many people I didn't know. And I'm doing this in the bedroom, but how many people I didn't know at it. Um, Let me know if that's too loud. But like the one, he doesn't get out much at all anymore. He's got the breathing apparatus. Now, G's brother apparently had that briefly, and doesn't sound like he still does. I don't know if that's changed with this other person though. So, and I did that. One time I actually rented a table separately. I had a couple random friends I didn't really hang out with otherwise very much. A couple that I did. I had a cousin who had never met before. I think it was the first time I met him, and he was in the city. Had moved kind of just outside of the city, and him and his girlfriend came. As soon as she sat down, water spilled. A glass of water spilled in front of her. But so that one, and then other times I just kind of sat with the ones I usually would sit with. Um, but and then a lot of times it was just with family, to be quite honest. My grandparents, my mother. Unfortunately, I don't really remember birthdays with my dad around. I mean, I only had him to just about the age of 12, just before my 12th birthday, actually. Um, I wish I could. I wish I could remember, but I just don't. It really pisses me off, actually, that I don't. But can you still hear me over the easy thing? You must be because you're still here, just listening, I guess, at the moment. Um, what I might do is actually take this off, and then I might not need that on. Oh, but you can? Okay, then I'll keep this on. Unless you'd like me to take it off. Sorry. Anywho, but one thing I did want to mention for myself and for others who may kind of relate to this struggle, and I'd be really curious to hear other people's, interpretations, or other people's how other people relate to it, rather. As far as, when you're going through a kind of a slower, quieter chapter in life. And sometimes it can be a kind of a long chapter, unfortunately. That's why I'm thankful for what we do have. And I think that's really important. When I think about my friend that passed away, and when I think about others, and I think about how we can't physically be together to celebrate birthdays with each other anymore, and how, like, my friend wasn't really family. Um, I guess you could say she kind of, well, we were close, but I never really thought it, maybe kind of like a sister. And to think that, like her partner and her sister and her father and her uncle and everybody else, not only when her birthday comes along, but when theirs comes along, she can't be with them. I've got G. I've got the dog. So I definitely am trying to tell myself, and in some ways it's very easy, be thankful for that. Be thankful for that, and keep it simple. I guess there's a part of me that thinks, though, although I am thankful for it, it's what I'm used to every day. We have each other every day. And we keep it simple ish every day. I want something more fancy, you know? But I don't got a lot of money. It's supposed to rain that day. I don't drive. The whole thing I mentioned, you know, not a lot of living local family, not a lot of local close friends. Um, I'm still not sure what to think about the about my former high school classmate and her partner. And there's something, but I think he follows this channel, and I don't want to say anything bad because there is definitely a lot of good about that connection. But I'm just trying to decide what to make of it, and I'm not sure. I think we talked about emails before, so maybe we'll kind of do that later. But someone just tuned in, so yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely. So welcome, by the way. That's definitely important, is to remember. We actually tried to make an interesting cake today, hoping that it lasts till Thursday. I have another fairly good sized last piece of another cake, which is the kind I actually prefer, in the freezer. But we made another one today, and I'm mixed about egg product. I really am, because I'm like that. I don't want to. I don't think I'm. I don't know if I'm vegan. Maybe a little bit vegan. And some hardcore vegans are going to be like, "What the heck does that mean? You're either vegan or you're not." Um, and I don't want to get into the whole. I don't want to get into that topic and have a debate about, because I'm not going to start drinking black coffee, and I'm probably not going to not want to not drink. No, I'm not going to want to stop drinking coffee, and you wouldn't want me to either. Believe me. um, and cheese. I love cheese. So I mean, um, like, I get some of the points, but I don't think I'm gonna ever be convinced to be full on vegan. So we could just say that. But I did discover something kind of interesting, and I've only had a good chunk of the edge piece, and I put it more in the center, so I don't know yet. Thanks for the hearts, hearts, hearts. Anything specific? I'm curious. Um, but I did discover an egg substitute I'd never heard of before, um, which is soda. So I put a little root beer. I mean, I guess you could use beer maybe too. I don't know. Soda, root beer, and a little bit of orange crush beside it. I'm very curious to get to that part in the cake and see what that's like. But he'd already put the eggs in, so it was both, and it kind of rose, and it kind of sunk in the middle, sort of, and it got nice and golden on the top. But anywho, so but so that's kind of something special in a way too. But no, I miss it. It's not that I had necessarily the same set of kids when I was young come every year. I mean, we had a lot of kids on my street, one street that I lived on before Dad passed. that were pretty close to my age. I'm sure we did a party at the house, but we also, I think, they were at the other place. Current phone wallpaper. Um, and yeah, is there any other special occasions? It's not. I mean, the other thing is that I can say that I don't doubt that my angels are going to be, with me in some way. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. But it's not the same. It's not the same, you know. Um, but I certainly don't really want to experience now or on Christmas the awkwardness with my mother and my step that much either. I know that G kind of would like to see them, and every now and then my step pops in at G's work, and didn't communicate with my mother recently. Dropped me off. I even thought I said, "Oh, he's just getting home." I see the garage open. Our side gate was open, and instead of asking me then, I get a message from my mother saying, "Does your gate need to be fixed? We noticed it was open." I told her no. G had just gotten home, and then that day or the next day, G says that my step uh, message, and it's only like 9:30 right now, and says it was asking about the gate, and we said no, it's fine. But he happened to mention that we do have another repair that might need to be done. But I mean, my step was in kind of rough shape when I saw him the other day. I really, he's always been a handyman, but I really don't know if he's capable of. It's not a rush, and I really think we could probably figure it out ourselves. Um, but both of us, don't have a lot of living local family. It's hard. But in speaking of my one friend a couple times recently, and truth be told, it's still been under a year, even if it's been a few months. And I'm not talking about her in all of my videos, but sometimes she comes up, and I think that's understandable, right? And basically, can't remember what I was just thinking about her. Oh, so she uh, had a. Try to think of the wording. Precipitated me going to a series of workshops recently, I feel, because it was at a place that I got involved in after she passed, because whether she was involved in it or not, it made sense. Let's just say that. It would have made sense if she had been, is what I meant. But she'd had her health struggles since she was a kid. She was probably just used to living with it, you know, did medical appointments as needed. Uh, but so I've met some people. One of them, the email didn't seem to go through properly. The other one I have connected with in a different way, and the other one hasn't texted back yet. She almost lost her phone, but she found it. It's believable enough that the last three digits are 22, 22, or three twos or something like that. Because I've known someone that is somebody's grandfather who might not even still be living, and I'm not really in touch with the grandson anymore. And the other relative passed away, the son and the mother. The mother was 104 when she passed away. I think she just made it to her 104th birthday, actually. Speaking of that kind of thing. Um, but I know that to all three of them, I did mention my birthday coming up. So even though I don't know these individuals very much, and I don't know how much I'm really going to try beyond that, it'd be very interesting to see if I might connect with them, around that time to do something. Um, what what are your favorite things to do on your birthday? Maybe that's the way to ask the question. Because I am thinking primarily birthdays with this, but if you'd like to talk about some other special occasion that you've had in your life, suppose we could do that. And I want you to know, yeah, I do strongly feel, and I hope you do as well. I hope that you find it at least a bit comforting that, if you have loved ones in heaven, uh, that they are still there. You know, they are still there with you. Also, if you have any song requests, feel free. I had somebody giving a whole bunch of them earlier. I did a couple of them, and then G did a couple of them, but some of them I didn't know or didn't feel. But my goodness, she was really churning them out with family. Yeah. I mean, part of me, wonders, and I mean, I suppose you could say, why do you care anyway? But part of me wonders if people really believe me when, like my dad passed young. 3 or 4 cousins on his side have passed away. 2 or 3 out of health problems, one out of an auto accident. Um, my other cousin isn't local and is kind of estranged. Um, G's sister's a little bit awkward. The other one passed away recently. The other brother doesn't talk to anybody. The other, or barely. And the other brother is also not local and has a bunch of health issues. You know, relatable? Anybody? The grandparents have passed away. My mother's only sister lives in another province, and her daughter lives in that same province, and her kids. And I have some just outside the city. But when I had a follow up with my mother a while ago, I felt that it potentially could have been awkward. I mean, I've reconnected with her a little bit, but it's kind of like, what were they told? And also, I was thinking about how one was giving mixed signals and the other one didn't help me reach a goal I was trying to reach, and I was very surprised. But again, blended family. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about, or am I? Maybe I am, eh? We got 2 of you here. But yeah, is there, I guess that's another question, and may or may not be easy or not, but what is some of the most memorable moments in your life? Here's another one. Another one. If that one's trickier, you can't think of anything. What has been the most memorable time you were able to help somebody in your life? I love that question. Sometimes I come up with the questions easier than I do my answers. um, I know one of G's answers, what it might be. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. I could say one that I kind of happened recently, and I'm not really sure if I helped or not. I know that the lady kind of processed what I said, but she's going through a lot of difficulties right now. Oh yeah, you're working in the morning. I forget what kind of work do you do. Um, and I guess it's later there because here it's only 9:30. Um, anyway, she had a son that has a drug addiction and does not know that his grandfather passed away. And I said, just a suggestion, I feel comes to mind. I said, maybe don't tell him if he becomes clean until after he's been clean for a while, because he'll be kind of focused on kind of getting his life back, essentially, to hit him with that kind of news. And she didn't react as if she thought of this before. I wasn't even sure if she was really thankful for the advice, but she kind of went. So it was going in, at least. Um, but there is a part of me that felt good that maybe that was not a time when I was able to have helped somebody. You know, G's used to living alone, but for the past 8 years we've been living together, and really appreciating what that does for both of us. So you could say that's helpful, I guess. Um, I'm a very helpful person. I don't often get as much opportunities as I might like to. Um, Sometimes it's slow to see the results as well. But I'm curious. Yeah, like I say, what is the time when the most memorable time that you feel you were able to be of help, to be of service? I don't know. It's an interesting question. And I'm all about the interesting questions. And I don't think Honest Dog's still here. Thankful that they were. Back to that previous thing, though. I think I will just say for a moment, and I'm still not saying who or where, but it was at a grief support group. And although I've had a few recent people pass away in my life, I have largely, a lot of them have been quite a while ago. And, like I say, saying that I sometimes feel them around me spiritually, that does help, when I do. So, um, it just kind of popped into my mind, and I don't feel like I'm trying to give myself, well, maybe I am, and maybe I should. Um, and maybe it's true. But there's a part of me that kind of feels like I don't want to say I was the happiest of all the people that were there, or even the most healed, but maybe in some ways I was. And maybe that energy kind of the people I was sitting next to, although the one smiled at me quite a bit, but two of them did actually, though, because I sat by them both times. um, Maybe kind of got something from that. Um, this chair is not as comfortable as I thought it was. Anyway, I still have to find out what we're going to watch tonight with these, so I probably should do other things. And he might even end up postulating. I mean, I thought it was Saturday today, but it's Sunday. I should know that, 'cause Saturday weather was and then today's weather was for the most part. But that's okay, it gives me something to do during the week. I have a few plans, but yeah, so um, yeah. I can't believe this doesn't feel like more pillows behind my back, because it certainly is. But yeah, so all that said, there's a part of me, but not driving, not having a lot of money, and it might be raining that day. So I mean, but even if it wasn't raining, the other two things are still part of it. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe put on some music and, well, he does that anyway. Just join him more. But I get tired so quickly and it's cramped in there and blah blah blah. But possibly, you will feel mixed about AI music. But that's interesting how Honest Dog worded that, sleep for work tomorrow, but instead said sleep for work. And my dad passed away because he worked too much and fell asleep at the wheel. So that's ironic. But yeah, so I like that question. Just to summarize some of the things I've asked in this that I can recall. What has been your most memorable moment? It's hard to choose just one, though, I would imagine, unless you're really young. But even then, it might be. Um, so, kind of looking at it in the terms of well, I would say birthdays, but you could say other special occasions. Kind of narrows it down a little bit. What are your favorite things to incorporate in those kind of things? And then, not quite related to that, but again, oh, thanks for the second like. I appreciate it. What has been a memorable time when you've been able to help somebody? And you could also reverse that or add to that and say, what was the most memorable time when somebody helped you with something? And perhaps we all go through moments where somebody helps us in a way that really changes our life. I'm not sure if I could think of one myself at the moment. Certainly not recently, and although I really do appreciate the community we have on here, so I can count that. But other than that, I mean, I've been needing it somewhat. I have. But and I'm curious if you'd like to say who's watching, because it's funny. Just after one person left, the other person came, and I appreciate the like. And curious if you've been to the channel before and how you came across it, if you'd like to say. And comments are not forced, but invited. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I keep going back to like G and our dog and my friend that passed away and how important they are in my life. And I feel like that is something that's helpful, having had or having them in my life. And I hope with G and the dog that doesn't change anytime soon. Yeah, more company, food, flowers. You know, downsizing is purging. Sometimes a good process to go through, but and that would come with it. But yeah, other I'm really not in any hurry for it to happen. So, but I don't know. I feel like there is possibly um, one coming up, getting a bit of mentorship from somebody. I don't really need the mentorship in the area, really, but I need the opportunities, and she seems to be getting them. And maybe she'd be willing to include me in them. Is kind of what it is. So waiting to find out about that, and that would be greatly helpful. Um, I think. um, I don't know. I think of like when I've been going to the food hamper. I mean that helps, I guess. But I'm looking for something a bit more, lack of a different way to put it, individualized, if that makes sense. And then of course there is like, if we wanted to talk about angels for a moment, if that's why you clicked in, perhaps, and you're just waiting to say, is he going to mention this angel mention that he mentioned? I do feel they can help us from the other side, but I would say that even I don't notice it most of the time. You know, um, sometimes I do though. That's the thing. Um, just gonna put these in this drawer here. I remember these chairs at my grandparents, and they weren't comfy then either. So yeah, if there's any questions about any of this or any thoughts, you're welcome to put them. As soon as I put my socks away that I didn't have on, I'm kind of thinking, oh, maybe I kind of do want them on. Anywho, um, I'm not going to keep rolling for super much longer. But if you also have a song request, feel free to ask for it, and I'll see what I can do. Maybe more than one, just in case I don't know or feel the first one. I was gonna say we can't all be Emily, because earlier today there was uh, a girl named Emily, a woman named Emily watching, and she was really turning out the song request. But I think I did my. I mean, I was a bit distracted. I had things I wanted to do uh, after the podcast, but then the weather was kind of being so anyway. But yeah, I guess the question is, and here's the thing. Sometimes when I'm doing my videos, I'm seeking answers, man. I'm seeking answers from the community. But I also want to be trying to do my best to give answers as well. Because I do have that within, I believe, as well. So, um, what do you like to include in your special occasions or your holidays? What helps you to make it not just seem like any other day? Especially when you maybe have some, lack of a different word, limitations. So I guess I'm asking for easy things. I don't know. Um, but one suggestion that did come to mind, and I'm not too sure how easily I'd be able to do this myself, but one suggestion that came to mind for others who may have this question is whether someone has passed away or lives far away from you, that you used to like to celebrate special occasions with, could you see yourself still doing them without that person if you can't do it with that person? Although, again, if we're talking about angels in heaven, I would say that they could still do it with you, but in a different way, right? But this may be a hard thing to do, but it could also be a very beautiful and special thing to do. If you can think of, and I'd be curious to talk about that with you, if you can think of what that would look like. It sort of reminds me, not quite, but sort of the idea I had a while ago, probably a couple of years ago, of going to the scene of my dad's accident, which wouldn't look like there'd been an accident there now. It's also not the same province that I live in, but just kind of being there and just kind of seeing what comes to me while I'm there, you know? Um, Similar to when you go to a cemetery, right? Um, or visit a loved one there and that. But no, I keep thinking about it and I keep thinking maybe I should go do some karaoke, you know? But it wouldn't be with people, oh, except for G. And I don't know who else, if I was able to arrange any on such short notice. It would mostly be with people I'm not familiar with. I've heard mixed things about a couple of one of the places nearest us. I'm not sure if there's another one. Um, Noise levels is a thing that I struggle with sometimes. And sometimes don't take much, you know. With the chronic fatigue syndrome and the Asperger syndrome and the anxiety sometimes and that like it's but it's very hard, isn't it, when things from our past that we really miss are no longer part of our current life. A lot of times that has to do with people that we've had in our lives, sometimes maybe places. um, Reminds me of that Beatles song that I did recently, actually. There are places I remember all my life. Some have changed, some forever. Anyway, you know what I mean. And you mean what I know. We got two of you here. I also want to welcome you and thank you for being here. Curious if you've been to the channel before or how you came across it. If you'd like to say, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. A couple of you, well, I don't know if the other one was here and left and came back, but one of you has been here for a while. I think the two likes were already there. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm seeing two and two, and maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's kind of a sign. I was talking about someone who I recently connected with who had three or four twos in a row in her phone number. I don't want anybody to, first of all, feel jealous because you can do it too, or somebody can do it for you. I don't want you to, I want you to try not to feel awkward or like scared by this or whatever. But I'm just going to take a moment because, as much as it's still hard to not have these loved ones in the physical, I am human, right? And so, but I do sense that Ray is kind of saying, "You'll be fine, bud. You'll have a good time one way or another. We're working on it from here. We're working on it from up there. Just hold a little hope. We'll do our best." Um, she says you deserve all the joy and fun you can get in this life, especially on your special day. You're a good person. I was happy to call you a friend. I still am, she says. And sometimes things are just a little harder than other times, right? But one thing that just came to mind, I almost feel like maybe she communicated it to my telepathy. But one thing that just kind of came to mind, especially with birthdays, but maybe in general, is imagine having a party with them. Even though they are far away, I recently heard somebody say, and I don't know if it was at every meal or if it was just, special occasions. I really thought it was weird that they did the holiday one after our Canadian Thanksgiving as part of the topic. But I guess maybe they thought then there'd be more to say about it. But somebody was saying something about putting a plate out for a lost loved one. I mean, I was very surprised how many people at this workshop series were talking as if they'd only lost one person. I guess they were thinking of most recently, you know, because I certainly wasn't the youngest one there. There was at least one person younger than me. But yeah, I mean, like I could set out like a whole big long table full of plates, and some of them would definitely be representing people that had passed away, but things like that, maybe, having some sort of special beverage and saying cheers to you all up there. Um, I know this will relate to some people. I know that whether through death or otherwise, we're all going to lose loved ones somehow. And we're social creatures. And those kind of things have an impact. You know what I mean? So whether it's, you know, maybe you remember a gift that somebody gave you, and or something nice that somebody got you, and maybe it was something that, you know, was just a temporary thing. You get some use out of it, or you eat it, or whatever. But you really enjoyed that, and you really enjoyed getting it from them. Maybe that's something you can get for yourself as a treat. Um, at the moment, I'm saying these things, but not really thinking of specific examples myself, even though they're probably there. Um, that's for the person that they're like, oh yeah, I remember one time, but then there's two of you here, so cool. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if the two that just tuned in are two that haven't been here for any of this yet, but either way, welcome back. What are your thoughts on this topic that I'm posting about? Or even if you haven't heard anything I've said about it yet, I'm curious. And it looks like they both went, but I can't say for sure. Like if I don't go out and do karaoke, maybe I'll do a karaoke party at home. It's just I can post that on here. It's just I can't monetize it. So it's unfortunate how music works that way, and covers are different than actual backing tracks, right? But what's cool is sometimes when you're looking up karaoke, it'll then show you a playlist. It'll create a playlist for you, and you can look through that. I don't know some of the really modern stuff, but I know a lot of stuff. But I'm a bit particular sometimes. But could totally do that. So stay tuned on Thursday. We might have a karaoke party, and we might post it. And it may not be a huge big party, but I've spoken about that a little bit in this video, and possibly just in general in past videos. Um, I'm hoping you can see that I'm a fun and likable guy. You're like, it seems like you'd have all kinds of friends. And I have in my life. And I haven't burnt that many bridges. I mean, and some of them have burnt bridges, to be honest. Um, but as we get older, I think it's something that, and it may or may not even be an age thing, but I think it's something that we start to relate to more. A lot of us can be young and have people pass away in our lives. I should have done this tomorrow, but I mean, it's going all right today, I guess. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And comment if you want. But I needed something to fill the time with. With the time change, it was an hour earlier than I felt like it was. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you kind of, everybody's journey is unique. Oh, hello, Super Genki. I remember you. I'm living in the wrong era sometimes. Hi, good to have you back. It's been a little while. I'm going to put a light. Oh, thank you. Um, so, how long have you been watching tonight? Out of curiosity. And yeah, it's probably morning where you're at. Maybe even Monday morning. Although if it was, I'm not sure if you'd be able to watch. I'm okay. I'm tired. I'm feeling nostalgic. I'm feeling uncertain about some areas in the future. And those can both be lovely feelings and also stressful feelings, right? But when I look at, for instance, our one commenter, and he has the name dog in his title. Well, we got a dog. You know, I believe you're somewhere in Asia, is it? I'm not that close with any Asian people. Nothing against them, but although I do think family. I also have to start working now. Just saw your online one to stop by and say hi. So hi. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't stay much longer, though. And I can't remember what kind of work you do, but I almost do. Although I will admit, I'm probably not going to roll that much longer anyway. It's getting kind of close to bedtime, and I'm not sure what else to say. But before you go, do you have any thoughts on the topic? Whether something you've heard me say, or just the title, and who also relates. Like I know there's people out there that gotta relate to as you get older. Or I hate even putting age to it, but more people pass away. Um, Life moves and flows in certain ways, and it's just you know, yeah, it's almost kind of hard to describe, and other than how I'm describing it, but. It's 10 a.m. here, and I'm busy, busy week coming up. Okay. Yeah, kind of the opposite here, and 10 p.m., I believe, here in a few minutes. Well, I do thank you for stopping in anyway. And I hope that everything goes well for you this week. And if you get a chance to come, and even if I'm not live, and now it's from 3 to 1, but anyway, and comment on any of the other live streams, or this one, if you have other thoughts come to you on it, feel free, you know. I hope you wake up in the middle of the night with some thoughts. Just kidding. But oh, I can't. This is where I'm glad I don't live in other places, because I'm kind of looking forward to calling it a day soon. It's been a decent but long day. You know, G probably wants to podcast. Too late. I'm already doing it. Although if I finish, he knows I'm doing it, and either way, it probably wouldn't stop him. Um, it's so late. It would keep me awake, and I'm ready for bed. 100%, 100%, 100%. Is that from you, Genki? Or Jinky, however you say it. Um, I don't have a lot going on this week. The errands I was going to do today, the weather wasn't as good as I'd hoped it was going to be, so I'm going to do that someday this week. Probably also take the dog to the groomers. Uh, is another errand. Actually, that and one other one is the only ones I can do without G. So um, it's going to be, just trying to get through the week kind of week. And so, the YouTube community and, social media is definitely helpful and appreciative. And, I like to try and give back when I can too. But yeah, yeah, I'm just glad I'm not starting my day just now. You know, I barely want to start my week. You know what I mean? But I am slightly curious to know what Thursday holds. It's always interesting to see what comes up in a day. What kind of things you watch, what kind of conversations you might get into, what kind of podcasts you might do, what kind of songs you may sing, what kind of things may make you laugh, what kind of things bring you joy, what kind of things make you nostalgic, what kind of things make you cry, smile. You know, it's very that feels like it could be a song. Maybe I can work on that song this week. And if you have any ideas, whether they're lyrically written or just like maybe you could talk about this, or maybe you could talk about this in the song, feel free to put them in the comments because maybe I will do just that. And I can say thanks for your help. you know. Um, but it's hard for me writing songs because a lot of the times, I'll be into them when I'm first doing them. I'll maybe come and share them once, and then I never look at them again. You know, my brother lives kind of far, and G has some of the skills, but butt heads a little bit when we do it. As far as like making an album, you know, I mean, although we did just recently discover, we feel mixed about it as musicians, but we recently discovered AI music writing. So there's also that. We did a very interesting Middle Eastern song about curly fries the other day. What was the other one we did? In psychedelic something or other. um, but you can only do. He said he couldn't do any until 8, and then he only had like 4 or 5 he could do, and then he couldn't do any for a number of hours again. Um, but I might be able to share some of them. We also did one that was kind of holiday themed, because 'tis the season to be jolly. We're getting there, right? So, if you have any favorite Christmas songs, you know, our winters are long. Holiday season is usually about what, 2, 3 months long? Two, for sure. Um, and I really want to, bring out the tunes and make memories with y'all by enjoying them. I might not be able to hear you singing and see you dancing, but if you're showing me, in the ways that you can on YouTube that you're enjoying it, then that's lovely, and I appreciate it, and I'm glad that you do too. Um, like I say though, that type of music, it's only at a certain time of year, and and it's kind of like in some ways you almost look forward to it every year. It's like, oh, the Christmas music. Some people don't maybe, but I'm sure even those people have a favorite Christmas song. Um, do you? What's your favorite Christmas song? I was talking to somebody on here from India the other day, and he actually said that I think he knew some, but it's not a big thing there. I don't know if he meant Christmas in general or Christmas music. I would think if Christmas was a thing there, then there'd be. But I mean, they might sing it in their language. That'd be interesting to hear Christmas classics sang in other languages, and also what other popular songs there are around the world. Yeah, Roses. Living in the wrong time zone. Let's do the time warp again. We do the da 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 da. Um, yeah, and I saw those. So I'll just give this opportunity in case the person that's watching now would like to say anything on any of this. Um, and I'm going to see if there's anything that might still possibly come to my mind. Although I'm pretty tired, I've said a lot, and I'm sure I'll be doing some podcast this week sometime. So if you have any ideas for that, by the way, as well, whether they're songs or topics, I somehow manage to almost every day come up with them pretty easily. I'm not even entirely sure how, it just happens. But I still don't mind getting suggestions for them. And sometimes it's easier than other times, right? And remember also to, you know, stretching feels good. Do as much stretching as you can, and dance and sing and laugh and enjoy life. I mean, you think, oh, I don't think people need to be told that, but it's amazing how some people just don't do that. And life would be so much more, so much less enjoyable if you don't do those things. Um, Whether you do them just in your own company or with others, right? So I've asked a bunch of, conversational questions in this, and I welcome you to watch this on the playback and perhaps comment your responses on some of the stuff. Um, but it is kind of getting late, and I'm not really sure what else I might want to put into this. So I'll wrap this up with a final question in case you would like to put a comment while live, chat for a few minutes more, and then I'll wrap this up. And like I say, you can see the live stream after this one or any of them that catch your fancy. Question I guess would be, again, conversation never forced but invited. I'm pretty easy to get along with and chat with. So, what does the title of this video make you think of? Yeah. Oh, hi. I don't know if I'd. Thanks for the like. If that was you that just gave it, I don't know if I'd say that you have been. How long have you been watching for tonight? Out of curiosity. Um, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard from you in a while, but I know you're going through stuff, so that's all right, man. Um, that's something else. I know I was really speaking about how thankful I am for the YouTube community that we have. I am. We are. Part of it's because I'm putting myself in chats of other people's videos, and if I wasn't mentioning mine, I mean, G and C is a very generic thing, name. If I wasn't being a bit more specific, some of you would never have found my stuff. I don't remember anything else you got off. Just kidding. Whose live stream did we meet through, Jonathan? Because that's I'm pretty sure how we met too. And I don't think it was Mac Terra's. No, I don't think so. I'm curious. And yeah, any thoughts on the topic? What you did here? I'm curious what you did here. Oh, not in somebody else's live stream. Okay. Yeah, that kind of sounds familiar too, actually. Well, I'm glad that we have, though, you know, and, like I say, it's always great to meet new people on here. But yeah, just the people that I've been connecting with on here that are becoming regulars on the videos. I really appreciate you all. You help make the podcasts what they are. I know I play my part, but you play yours, and it's lovely to chat with y'all and see you pop up on them and get to know each other. You know, that's the thing. Once people get to know each other, it can be a very lovely and beautiful thing, and that's what it should be anyway, right? And yeah. So again, what are your thoughts on what you've heard me say since you've been watching, and also that light seems to be more on my face than it was earlier. Anyway, and also on the title of this video. I'll give that a few moments because one of you is not shy and maybe the other one won't be either. Again, if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, feel free to. I suppose when I say that, and lots of YouTubers do, I should say, what's this channel about? What are you watching right now? Can't you tell? Just kidding. What do you think you're watching right now? Just kidding. Um, I was going to really toot my own bugle for a moment there, but uplifting, wellness, psychology, performing music, uh, um, sometimes randomness, honestly, but usually in that area of things. And what do you think? Where are you struggling with that? And what do you think you need to do to be a better friend to people? I mean, in our connection that I've had with you, sometimes we can expect a lot from people, whether we should or whether we shouldn't. It's true. But I don't know if I had any expectations as far as with our friend Jonathan here. Um, but just in friendships in general, um, in the need for connection, I would say I might have some. Um, you know, being there when you can be, conversing, you know, um, sharing some laughs. Those are some things that I think make for a great connection and friendship. And we've done some of that in the short amount of time that we've known each other so far. So, and I'm hoping we'll do more of it. There's different ways to bond with people. There's different things to relate to with people. And I think also, of course, important in friendship is to, that light is annoying me, is to be able to be there for each other through the joys of life and the struggles. Because, it makes life easier. Okay, one of you has left. Is it just Jonathan here now, or what? Or at least it looks like one of you has. I would like to replenish my water, do a couple other things shortly. But I think it was just Jonathan. I'm not entirely sure. And then it says now there's a second, and then there's a third person. So again, welcome. I just a moment ago, if you have not been to the channel before, and it looks like you left. But anyway, but just in case it's one of the ones that just came in. Although that just came in, so I'm guessing that, and it's Jonathan Harding as opposed to Jonathan Hardy. I like what I like. Yeah, don't we all, right? And I need not to force certain issues because I get too excited about things. And I mean, I know what you've said in the past. And again, I actually would be saying that I hope that you might feel those things even when you're not high. You know, and I know one thing that's coming to mind, and I mean, sure, maybe that's affecting some of your friendships and connections in a negative way. Um, I do my best with my capacity and kind of where I'm at in my head and in my life, but I don't mind. I don't mind. Other people that you're connected to might. Um, and I guess you're realizing that. So that's good, I guess. I mean, it's unfortunate that they might be a little uptight in that way, but people are people, and I guess they have their reasons. And I think what's most important as well is having the empathy, having the understanding for each other, accepting each other as you are, and and trying to understand each other's feelings. You know, that's not just to you. I'm saying that to the other person and anybody else who sees this. Like it's what it's all about. In human connection and I need to shave. I thought I did the other day. Anyway, and for friendship and stuff. But if there's any final thoughts on the topic of this video that you'd like to speak about, he's gonna be like, "You've been talking," and it is actually 10, 12. You've been talking about it for an hour. Yeah, I know, but one or both of you have just came in recently. Because I, you know, I came up with the idea because it was on my mind, and it still kind of is. I might watch this back myself, but because sometimes that's good to do. But it's very much on my mind. And y'all, my friends in the comments, are just a reminder of more local, non-local, lovely connections that I have, who I would invite to my party if you were local. Just saying. Maybe I should do. Some people might suggest this, although our Zoom doesn't work. I don't know the capacity as a messenger, and I'm not too sure. But I did actually kind of sort of mention it to someone the other day. Maybe a virtual thing. I don't think it's really doable on YouTube where you can have more than one other person on the camera on the screen, unless they're in the room physically with you. But and if you decide to party on my behalf and it's not watching one of my past live streams or one I might be doing that you notice, uh, although I'd sort of recommend it, those are pretty good times, right? Um, I just ask that you be safe. You don't do anything I wouldn't do, if you know what I mean. If you don't, just ask. And I don't even know if I know what I mean, to be honest. Um, and just be careful. You know, if you're involving alcohol and substances, like or going to certain types of places, like just be careful because you matter to me. You know, and Yeah, just like I matter to you, and maybe more than we even realize. Who knows, right? I don't know, or maybe not. Who knows? I was kidding, but um, yeah, I have mixed feelings about getting older, man. I really do. I really do. I don't know what it's gonna bring me. Will it be goodness, or will it be more struggle and aches and pains and uncertainty and strong, and feelings of nostalgia and longing and you know but yes, I'll also keep you posted if I do connect with any of the peeps, and might not be on a podcast, but in the moment, but and whatever I end up doing, I'll let you know. And um, yeah, you know, again, very thankful to have YouTube, but I'll try and keep myself busy in general. That's sometimes the challenge, and I know some people would totally not relate to that, and some people will. And the people that don't relate to it now may someday, you know. But I do have a few things kind of that I need to take care of. So yeah, okay, mate, sounds good. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm thinking of wrapping up soon too. But the two of you are both still here, so what does a guy to do, right? Okay, something particular, a birthday present? I don't know. Sounds like a plan, Stan. Um, but yeah, nostalgia. If I was to do a video on that topic more in the near future, what type of things should I talk about? What type of things do you find nostalgic? I think a lot of us probably find a lot of similar things nostalgic. Um, what are the things from your past that you long for again? Do you think you can find ways to get them again? And what are the things that you didn't have then that you're so thankful to have now? And other than that, what's your plans for your day? I mean, if it's as late as it here, I mean, some people don't sleep as much or stay up later, but your plans might be going to bed soon. Sleep is important, But if you're seeing this during the day or whatever, and you'd like to just kind of say in general, you know, um, maybe something to talk about. Either way, I hope everybody has a good day and a good week. I'm pretty sure that as I do, be posting something or other uh, here and there throughout the week. And again, you can help inspire that. Um, but I hope everybody takes good care of themselves and their needs and isn't a strain, isn't and checks in on each other, including me. I would appreciate it. Um, Whether I'm live streaming or not at the moment. And yeah, I'd just be repeating myself. I don't have the energy or the need to do that at this point. So I'll wrap it up and say bye for now, everybody.